Hey guys, this is Connor with Conquest HP, and this video is a review of the Harbinger Lifting Hooks. This is what they look like. This is my own set right here. This is a strength training product that is used to kind of substitute for grip strength on pretty much heavy compound exercises, deadlift, rows, that kind of thing. It's meant to take the place of having to have a strong crush grip around a bar. Obviously, if I do that right next to it, see, it's pretty much the same thing. So that's what this product is for, and I think it has some very specific uses, and it can be useful for a very specific set of people in a very specific set of ways. Overall, I really approve of this product, but it's one of those things that has to be used intelligently. Otherwise, you just go full meathead and you get carried away with it. So basically, I got these about 6-8 months ago, that kind of thing. And I got them because I deadlift hook grip, which means I just kind of, instead of my thumb going over top of my fingers are going over top of my thumb. It's a much stronger grip, but because I can pull a certain amount of weight and I like to pull very frequently, my thumb takes some insane abuse. It's just the skin wears away and I crush blood vessels and all kinds of stuff goes on there. So I wanted to minimize how much I could minimize the damage I was doing to my hands while still pulling as much as I could. It got to the point where kind of my grip was the limiting factor in how much I could pull. I know many lifters will know exactly what I'm talking about. I got to the point where pain in my thumb from the pressure on the bar was limiting me increasing the weight. It wasn't my legs, it wasn't my back. There were no other real limitations beyond my grip getting in the way. And that is not what I'm deadlifting for. I don't deadlift to build my grip. I deadlift to build my overall strength in the deadlift. So that was a problem. So I needed some way to fix that. I tried using a couple different forms of lifting straps, which are a much more common product than the lifting hooks. But I found that those really got in the way of my setup. When you get down to the bar and you really have to focus on wrapping up that strap and getting a good grip on it, it could be 5 or 10 seconds you're spending on each hand. And normally when I deadlift, I'm just down to the bar, grip, and then grip it and rip it pretty much. So that's where these come in. These lifting hooks kind of do what the straps do, in that your hands really don't have to do any work at all. But they're very quick, very easy to set up. So what you do with them is they've got this nice, really super robust wrist cuff on there, some solid padding on there, so it's not really like abrasive. I don't know if you've used lifting straps before. You take it off and it looks like you've been in handcuffs. You walk around the rest of the day and people are like, did this guy just break out of prison or something? This is weird. You don't get that because there's this nice thick, it's wide this way, so it's kind of dispersing that force, and then where you have most of the pressure, there's a really thick foam pad there, which is great. The Velcro on this is obviously really robust too. I'll link the video below, but I pulled 650 pounds with this the other day. The hooks look no worse for the wear. They didn't move, they weren't a concern on the lift or anything like that. So overall, a huge test to pass there. But basically, you kind of slip the hook into your hand like that. I kind of just make it so that my index finger wraps around where it normally would be for my hook grip. So I just kind of grip it in my hand and then really crank that strap on there. And obviously, the heavier I'm going to pull, the tighter I want to pull, or I want to put it on there. So now I've got this hook set up. So when I want to grab the bar, I just have to put it in my hand like so, and then I'm just down to the bar, slap this thing around the bar, and my hand isn't really even doing anything. It's these steel hooks that are doing the lifting. My hand is just there to kind of, well, it's the most comfortable position for my hand to be in, first of all, but it's there to kind of keep the hooks in place. So really, your grip strength isn't a limiting factor at all. The size of your hand, not a limiting factor at all. It doesn't change your setup for your deadlift at all, or your bend row or anything else like that for that matter. So in that regard, this is a fantastic product. I love it for that. Basically, it's going to allow you to focus on deadlifting. If you're doing the deadlift to deadlift heavier, you want to get your entire body stronger. You want to be able to lift more weight in the deadlift without the hands getting in the way. This is a good way to do it, especially if your hands, like mine, were getting beat up from hook grip or calluses, or maybe you're just like every other lifter who does even the alternating grip, where you get to a certain point and you find that rather than your hips failing or your quads not being strong enough, it's really your grip that gives out first. Like I lost a PR deadlift in a competition one time because my grip slipped, and I don't think I'll ever forget that. I don't want to ever lose on that again. But basically, this will allow you to train the deadlift more volume, more frequently, whatever you want to do with it, and kind of minimize how much punishment you're putting on the hands. One drawback to using these is you can see that I have wrapped some hockey stick tape around the ends of the hooks here. The ends of the hooks aren't sharp. They're just kind of like flat ends to a steel hook, so they're not particularly sharp or pointy or anything like that. There's this nice kind of rubbery coating on the hooks, but as soon as you pull even just a few reps, what happens is you start to get some of that steel exposed. It rips through that rubbery coating, and as soon as that happens, the end of the hook will start to poke out. So for my particular deadlift, I pull sumo most of the time, which means that when I'm finishing my pull, this thing is kind of dragging up along the inside of my quads. So in my particular case, I only had to do it a couple times, where I found that this was digging into my leg, and it gave me a bruise a couple times. One time it gave me like I don't even want to call it a cut. It was like a scratch, but a pretty deep scratch that was there for a week. So that's one drawback. If you're pulling conventional, where your hands are outside of your hips, this won't be a problem at all. This hook will never even touch your leg. If you're pulling sumo, this might touch your leg depending on how you're finishing your pull, how long your arms are, that kind of thing. So that's just one thing to be aware of. The way I have, this is just hockey stick tape, right? It's nothing fancy. I'm sure there's a better solution, but if I do this, then sometimes I can end up with like a bruise on the inside of my leg. I'll find it the next day, like, oh, it's a bruise there, who cares? But I won't get cut. It's not ripping through pants or anything like that. So it's a pretty easy fix for that. And that's kind of like the only drawback to these, if I'm being totally honest. The other funny drawback, I guess, is that when you get them both on, it's pretty much, it's impossible to get on a standard prong belt or to do anything with your hand that's overly complex, because these things will get in the way and will like hook onto each other when you're trying to load weights, and you gotta, you're reaching for your phone to change the song, and you just kind of like handcuff yourself. But realistically, that's not an actual drawback. They work fantastic. Like I said, I pulled 650 just a couple weeks ago with this, 650 pounds, and they didn't hurt my wrists as I did it. They didn't move as I did it. They stayed in the same place the whole time. The steel didn't bend. I don't know what this steel is rated for, but it seems to be pretty impressive strength. Yeah, I really like them. Other people in the gym may make fun of you for them. They may call them bitch hooks, but if you deadlift more than them, they can't really talk any smack about it. So that would be the way I would go about dealing with that. In any case, it might be a meathead thing to just kind of grind through and just deal with the hand abuse later and the grip strength. But a couple important points. I think if you want to build grip strength, the deadlift is not the way to do it. There are better ways, like farmer carries. I think heavy shrugs and even heavy rows, heavy single arm rows are better ways to build grip strength. Even just heavy holds, like if you did like a rack pull and just stood at the top of the deadlift with a heavy loaded bar. I think that's better for building grip. I don't deadlift, like I said, for the grip strength. So I don't want the grip strength to be the limiting factor there. If I want to build my grip strength, I will do a different exercise to build my grip strength. So these kind of just allow me to focus on building my deadlift strength. And to be honest, the first time I used these, I think it was it might have been the very first time I used these. I set like a 15-pound PR or something like that, because I just didn't have to worry about my hands. My thumbs didn't hurt. I didn't worry about like calluses opening up or anything like that. I just grip it and rip it with these things, and I pulled 645, and that's a pretty good day for me. So it just kind of allowed me to focus on what I wanted to do. So at the end of the day, I still do my hook grip pulling. I'll just do much less volume of it. Like I'll work up to a heavy single with my hook grip to make sure I keep that capacity there, to make sure I can tolerate the thumb pain and the calluses don't go away completely. But I don't want to walk around with like thumb leprosy from pulling hook grip all the time, and my hands are already rough enough from lifting all the time. So these are a great product to kind of just minimize the amount of abuse I'm putting into my hands, my forearms. And I think anyone that's looking to do that, anyone that just wants to kind of take the grip component out of the deadlift, or at least some of their deadlift training, I think that these are a great tool. And there is absolutely value in building your grip strength, but like I said, I think that's better done separately anyways. And although I haven't used these for pull-ups or for rows or shrugs or anything like that, I suspect they'd be very useful for those things as well. Anything where grip is the limiting factor and you prefer grip not to be the limiting factor, I think that these would play a pretty strong role. So yeah, again, these are the Harbinger Lifting Hooks. I got these ones on Amazon. I'll put a link to that below and probably in the cards here as well. But a relatively inexpensive product. I think I paid, I don't know, it was like $30 or something like that for these. And to be honest, they're worth many more times, or many times more than that. They just allow me to deadlift without kind of it causing damage that is just, at the end of the day, unnecessary. I can really focus on my deadlifting with these. So great product. I highly recommend these. If you've ever found that grip is the limiting part in your deadlift, definitely check these out, give them a try. And if anyone makes fun of you for using them, that's kind of irrelevant. If you're able to deadlift more frequently, if you can deadlift heavier because you use these, I think that's kind of the argument you need to make in a nutshell. Because being able to deadlift more frequently and being able to deadlift more weight is kind of its own argument. That's just an inherently good thing. So if you've had those grip issues in the deadlift, or if you're just looking for a fun product to try out, definitely try these out. I really highly approve of them. I've had them for, like I said, 6-8 months, something like that. And I've abused them, kicked them around, used them on 650 pound, 645 pound deadlifts, and they're holding up great. You just need a little hockey tape for the end of the hook, or just pull conventional and don't do a cheater deadlift like the sumo. But yeah, other than that, check them out. Great product. I will link to this product below, the Amazon product, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Don't forget to check out the other videos on this channel. I'll be doing a few more reviews like this in the future as well. So let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to see. All right, guys, talk soon.